Yo, what's good, guys? It's your boy out here playing around, clowning around. We're clocking in so you guys don't have to. I'm your boy MC Fire, and we're basically gonna do our kind of market recap. We're going into trying to set up the next week, looking at potential buys, potential sells. Again, this is not financial advice, but the reality is we like to do this, so we're gonna share it with you guys. Um, let's a little bit about the background of myself and our trading journey. We've been trading for about 2.5 going on 3 years. Really liked it. Saw some amazing results last year. We want to continue that, so we're learning new trading systems, seeing what works, what doesn't work, and you guys are going with us on the journey. So we're really kind of geeked about seeing if we can maintain this momentum. And let's dive right in. Let's see here. Cool. So now that we got that pulled up here, what do we have? So basically, we have a kind of like a chart of Boeing. And why are we looking at Boeing? I like to look at the weekly and kind of see what the daily's doing. Um, if you notice, Boeing is absolutely been getting absolutely thrashed and hammered, right? We saw actually a potential sell signal here where my mouse is. Actually, more along the lines of back here for the sell signal. But we were looking to make a play off the breakout. I think we closed it, but we had already were a little bit profitable there. So for Boeing, it is setting up potentially for a buy. And if you notice, we do have some of our rotational levels from here and here and here and here. So it's keeping up with kind of that idea that, hey, if you start building market orders on the bottom of the rotation, you're going to break and rotate down. It did end up rallying and then completing this rotation kind of up, test, retest kind of deal, market theory. But what I've been noticing too is because it's been depressed, you could be potentially setting up for a very juicy head and shoulders pattern, with this being the kind of the neckline, and with a weekly buy trigger above previous weeks and breaking above the this value area high. If you could do that, then I could probably potentially see it running at least up to here, right up to previous peak high, which is over here. It's already technically a buy signal on the daily. So it kind of triggered a buy kind of back here when it broke the 8 period moving average and broke previous day's high. So this candle, this day, would have been your daily buy trigger. Also, you get a kind of a help with the golden cross there. And so it started kind of pushing its way up into this value area and rotating there. But if it breaks above there, then I could see it potentially run higher, making for really juicy returns. I would be looking to take some off the table up here at the 196 area, but we never really know what's gonna do what. Pushing on to NQ here, if it'll let me. So really good news for the if you're invested in the market in the Qs. I know me and Ice Q are, but 2 days ago there was a really good rally and really pushing through ATR on the daily. So especially that you've tested range high or all-time highs, right? That's not going to be necessarily something you're just going to, what they say, buy low, sell high kind of deal. And your buy trigger was back here. And your first resistance, where you would be taking some off the table, is here. If you were already in the play, which you should have been, leaving a run is pretty nice. But I would not be surprised to see some rotation, right? And what we'll do here is we'll drop a nice juicy double topped. Yeah, we'll just put something right there to kind of show the value rotation, because I feel confident that this wick, you see kind of where it closed, and that for us is it holds true. Tested high and kind of closed below that, so just wicked out and then here. So we feel pretty confident that that's the range. Well, at least that's what we're gonna do for now. Yeah, AMD in the lineup. AMD, it does have a golden cross here, but again, like I'm looking for more of a weekly trigger, and for that to happen, um, I would want to see a break above the 21 and a break above this week's high. If it can do that, AMD, it's still on the table. Tesla, look forward to a break to the downside. If it breaks, this day's low, that's what we're kind of looking at. And if you zoom out here, Tesla is kind of in this channel. So at minimum, right, we might be able to see a retest of the lows. But nobody really knows these things, right? So for Tesla, I would be looking for a retest of the lows, essentially, for it to continue on its downtrend. And if you look at the earnings, they haven't necessarily been improving. So it's just something to think about. If your earnings aren't, if the cash flow isn't there, it doesn't justify the higher price, right? If the cash flow isn't there. So not necessarily good news. There is blood in the water for Tesla. Elon has been lowering the price of the EVs in a bidding war, trying to keep Tesla profitable and keep people buying cars. So shout out to Elon, but doesn't bode well for the price of the overall stock. Uh, TJX, what we're looking for here, actually it already happened 2 weeks ago. So nice little rotational test here would have gave you a clear buy signal here. Definitely approaching rotational highs here. You see it's a couple days, kind of putting in market orders here. But again, on the daily, it's a 3 ATR, and it has been respecting that ATR level. So it's just something to think about. Like, hey, if it's been respecting 3 ATR and it conflues with the rotational high, which is really the where the data is more prevalent, then I would expect at least a pause where you take something off the table if you're already in the play from 2 weeks ago. Things that I'm really kind of interested in to maybe make a play to the upside: oil and the bond market. We won't go through all of these, but really oil and the bond market are kind of looking juicy. So it's got a lot of range if it can break this value area high, right? And that'd be pretty powerful. Rallies for since the beginning of the year, right? Essentially rallies. Nice juicy pullback for about a month and a half, and then if we can break highs again and get it above that value area, which I believe was established from this peak high here, that could bode very well for us. We'll probably need to put our juicy lines over here as well. Boom. So we would be looking for a break here and it to run at least try to test highs. Really, we want a trend change, but on the weekly, it's an uptrend. On the daily, we could see a trend change. It already is kind of potentially, if we get another day above here, that would be your buy trigger on the daily and a buy trigger, believe it or not, on the weekly. So very powerful stuff. And then TLT, the bond market. So you've got TLT, which I believe is a 20-year bond, right? Showing some signs of strength on the daily and on the weekly, right? Gave you a juicy buy trigger on the weekly. Now, keep in mind, this isn't necessarily in a strong uptrend, but on the daily, right, signs of life here. If you were looking to be aggressive, you get a buy trigger on this candle, maybe for 3 days. Probably pull it on the second day, something like that. But if it's thrown a weekly buy, so I'd be looking to hold this for like the next 3 weeks to a month. Right, TLT is not looking too bad. It's cheap, really cheap when you think about, hey, where is it in reference to where it's been. highs at 155, right? So any break above here, I haven't really charted it out, but you'd be looking for, it's already broke this, looking for it to break this uh, uh, peak low here. And if it does that, it can get into a new potential rotational range. That's kind of what we want to see, but right, we'll put the alert up there for it. Looking for it to break above here. I don't know why I put it below it. Cool. So there's the alert. Also with USO, XLE also is probably a juicy look. Overall, right, you're looking at like a very what seems to be like higher lows and steady highs, right? So if you continue making higher lows and then same highs, it's almost like a exaggerated uh, triangle for years, right? Since October of 2022 or May of 2022. So 2 years of ascending triangle here. That could be super powerful. So just keep in mind that plays on the XLE would be above here. We'd be looking for a play to be above here. Breakout weekly trade above that level to go about 3 weeks to a month, right? Especially with you got a very nice risk to reward. If this can maintain itself and you get this kind of reward for this much risk, it's actually a pretty good deal, right? COP is gonna be kind of like in line with XLE, and let's go check out our boy Shop, right? Absolutely getting hammered last week. Absolutely got throttled. So, um, what would I do here if I was like looking at Shopify as a potential play? Don't do anything with it. Wait and see. I just wanted to highlight, hey, the stock was doing great, and then now it kind of just got its butt handed to it. So, you know, things to think about. Also, the unbalanced volume actually went to the downside on the death cross. So, after the retest, definitely failed, and it paused kind of at rotation. Remember, we marked this line over here. The theory kind of holds the same. It rotated, took a brief pause down there. So it's something to think about, man. It's kind of in line with earnings, but the reality is if you got Shopify, it's not, the trend is basically changed, and it's in a very strong downtrend. SPY is looking good. Let's look at our boy Microsoft. Microsoft's going to be in line with the overall Qs and the XLK. So looking good there. Amazon also looking good right now. I wouldn't say necessarily it's a buy right now on the weekly. On the daily, same thing. Not really a buy trigger. So if you've got it, hold it. It's still in this rotational area, kind of towards the highs. I would be looking potentially for a break of high, or at least get above this value area before I look to do anything. Nvidia, right? As we see, like Nvidia, kind of break, like it basically gave you a buy trigger here, and that would have been a really good risk to reward as well. Your risk would have been here, but your reward would at least complete the value area for the next 2 weeks. So if you notice, this is kind of what you want to see with a break of the A and a break of previous high at that resistance level. That's kind of what you would ideally want to see for what we saw earlier, right? That not Amazon. What were we looking at? Let's spot. It literally just slipped my mind, but yeah, this is basically kind of what you want to see for that nice juicy risk to reward with the break above the high and a break above the 8 on the weekly, right? You kind of want to see that for a nice juicy risk to reward. That's not it. It's XLE. Yeah, XLE. They're perfect, right? So if you get a break above this high, you get a nice juicy risk to reward kind of at the base of that level, and then this is your rotational level. So risk to reward wise is really really good. And Lily, I'm loving Lily. Um, it's kind of holding to the rotation there. Would it gave you kind of a buy? I wouldn't use this wick. I think we talked about this last time. With a long wick like that, you take a buy trigger above here, and nice risk to reward there, especially if it broke rotation. You're gonna want to let it go anyway, because it's free fall basically to this level. If it does do that, actually we'll mark that up too. Um, and shout out to the auto printing the Darvis levels. They're really good. But sometimes the computer can't beat a human, unless it's AI. So just something to think about. And so yeah, it's basically no man's land here. As it builds market orders, it breaks. So it can probably potentially do the same thing to the downside. That's what I was saying. Like if it breaks to the low, no man's land is basically going to be like, hey, everyone's gonna let it go. So the buy trigger for Lily was about 2 weeks ago. If you're not in, just hold off, wait till it rotates, and gives you a buy trigger. Let's see what the scans generated. Nothing on the positive side. Nothing really on the negative slide. No full bull, no full bear. Okay. So guys, that is pretty much the video. If you guys have liked what you've been seeing, I know we're kind of a new channel. Not necessarily as polished as the other channels, but we really appreciate you guys if you guys have been watching and learned anything. Watch some of our previous videos, because it's going to explain why we pick what we pick, what the overall objective is, and how we basically trade. Last year, we got 52% return on investment when the overall market basically returned like 22%, if you're going off the SPY. And from there, we were like, hey, can we keep this momentum going? If we can, with our trading, we're trying some new strategies. So not necessarily looking to just blow returns out of the water, but we want to get familiar with this new strategy, which has been generating some decent results, with as regards to risk management. Haven't seen any like wild returns, but we do see the potential in the strategy, like asymmetrically. We do want to kind of show you guys what the log looks like and show you some progress, at least risk to reward. So thank you guys for tapping in with us. We appreciate your time and energy. If you guys like what we've been saying, check us out. This is your boy MC Fire. Have a good day and goodbye.